What I'm about to show you may completely change what you do the next time your blood pressure suddenly climbs at home. And when I reveal breathing trick number 1, the one that acts like a brake pedal on your stressed-out nervous system, you're going to understand why some seniors can watch a scary number begin to settle within minutes without reaching for panic, without spiraling, and without making their pressure rise even higher. Because the most dangerous moment is not always the high reading itself. It's what fear makes you do right after you see it. I'm Dr. Michael Joel, and I need you to hear this very carefully. A sudden jump in blood pressure does not always mean your body is failing in that moment. Many times, it means your body is alarmed. Your heart speeds up, your blood vessels tighten, your breathing turns shallow, and before you know it, you are feeding the very surge you want to stop. I've seen seniors in Florida, Ohio, and Arizona terrify themselves into even higher readings, simply because no one taught them how to interrupt that stress response, before it takes over. And that is what today is about. Not gimmicks, not magical cures, not replacing your medication. This is about 3 specific breathing patterns that can help bring your body out of fight or flight and back toward a calmer state, which is exactly where blood pressure often begins to come down. By the end of this video, you'll know which breathing trick to use when you feel panicked, which one is best when your chest feels tight and your shoulders are creeping upward, and which one is the most powerful overall. Especially for seniors who want something simple and repeatable. Before we begin, please subscribe for clear heart health guidance, practical senior wellness tips, and daily habits that protect independence today. And stay with me. Because trick number 1 is not the one most people guess. In fact, most seniors are doing the opposite of it without realizing it. And that mistake keeps the nervous system switched on when they desperately need it switched off. Let me start with Nancy from Tampa because her story explains why this matters so much. Nancy was 72, organized, careful, and very serious about her health. One afternoon, her pressure monitor flashed 168/94 after a stressful phone call with her insurance company. She checked again immediately. It was higher. Then again, higher still. Her hands were cold, her jaw was tight, and she was certain something terrible was happening. But what was actually happening, was that each frightened breath she took was shallow, fast, and locked in her upper chest, telling her body to stay on full alert. That's where breathing trick number 3 comes in, and I'm starting with this one because it is the fastest rescue pattern when anxiety is driving the spike. It's called pursed lip breathing. It sounds almost too simple to matter, which is exactly why people ignore it, but when done correctly, it slows the pace of breathing, lengthens the exhale, and begins nudging the body away from emergency mode. If your pressure climbs after bad news, after an argument, after rushing in from the driveway, or even after seeing one high reading, this is the first tool I want in your pocket. Here is exactly how to do it. Sit down, put both feet flat on the floor, relax your shoulders, breathe in gently through your nose for a count of 2 or 3, not a giant breath, just a calm breath. Then purse your lips like you're slowly blowing out birthday candles and exhale for a count of 4, 5, or 6. The exhale should be longer than the inhale. That's the key. Do that 5 times in a row. No talking, no checking the monitor between breaths, no rushing. Just inhale softly, and exhale longer than you inhaled. Now let me tell you why that matters. When you stretch out the exhale, you are sending a very different message through the body than when you pant, gasp, or hold your breath. A long, controlled exhale is one of the quickest ways to tell your nervous system that the threat is passing. Heart rate often begins to ease, muscle tension begins to drop, the chest softens, and when the body stops acting like it is under attack, blood vessels may begin to relax as well. That is why a simple change in breathing can shift a reading that was driven by stress, not by a true medical emergency. Nancy tried it while sitting at her kitchen table. 5 slow cycles. Then she waited another minute and repeated it. The tightness in her chest eased. Her shoulders dropped. She stopped staring at the machine like it was delivering a verdict on her life. When she rechecked, her pressure was still elevated, but it was lower. 10 minutes later, lower again. What changed first was not the monitor. What changed first was her breathing pattern. And once that changed, her body stopped pouring gasoline on the stress response that had started the whole spiral. But I need to say something important here. If your blood pressure is extremely high and you have chest pain, severe shortness of breath, weakness, numbness, trouble speaking, confusion, or vision changes, do not sit there doing breathing exercises and hoping for the best. That is emergency territory. Call 911. These breathing tricks are for calming stress-driven surges and helping the body settle. Not for talking you out of urgent symptoms. And if any breathing pattern makes you lightheaded, dizzy, or uncomfortable, stop and return to normal breathing right away. Now let me show you breathing trick number 2, because this is where many seniors realize they have been breathing backwards for years. I'm talking about chest breathing, the kind where your shoulders lift, your neck tightens, and your upper ribs do all the work while your diaphragm barely moves. It feels like a deep breath, but it often keeps the body in a guarded posture. And if you've lived through years of stress, caregiving, grief, or chronic worry, your body may have turned this tense breathing style into your normal without you ever noticing. That's exactly what happened to Harold in Phoenix. Harold was 76, a retired mail carrier, proud of the fact that he still handled everything himself. But every time he checked his blood pressure, he also took these big, dramatic breaths. His chest puffed up, his shoulders rose, and he thought he was calming himself down. He wasn't. He was overworking the muscles in his neck and upper chest, keeping his body rigid while the cuff squeezed his arm. He told me, "Doc, I'm breathing deep." And I told him, "No, you're breathing high." Breathing trick number 2 is diaphragmatic breathing, also called belly breathing. And this one is powerful because it teaches your body to breathe from the place it was designed to breathe from. Put one hand on your chest and one hand just below your ribs. Now breathe in through your nose slowly enough that the lower hand rises first while the upper hand stays mostly quiet. Then exhale through gently pursed lips and feel the belly fall. That lower hand should move. The upper hand should barely move. If your shoulders are lifting, you are climbing right back into stress breathing. For most seniors, I want this done seated in a sturdy chair, back supported, feet flat, jaw unclenched. Inhale through the nose for about 4 counts, allowing the belly to expand. Pause naturally for just a beat, not a forced hold. Then exhale through pursed lips for about 6 counts and let the belly soften inward. Repeat that for 1 full minute if you are new to it. Then rest. Then do another minute. Over time, you can build to 3 to 5 minutes. The goal is not to win a contest. It is to retrain your body's default breathing pattern. Here's why this matters more than people realize. When breathing drops lower into the diaphragm, the body usually uses less effort to pull air in and push air out. That alone can reduce the sense of strain. But there's another effect. The act of slowing and deepening the breath, especially when the exhale is controlled, helps shift the body away from that revved-up sympathetic state and toward a calmer parasympathetic state. That is the shift we want. Not drama, not force, not giant theatrical breaths. We want smooth, low, efficient breathing, because calm physiology creates calmer numbers. Harold practiced this for a week before every morning reading. Same chair, same time, same pattern, one hand on his chest, one on his belly. At first he hated it because he realized how tense he was. He told me he felt silly. Then, on day 4, something clicked. His shoulders stopped fighting him. His breathing slowed down. The first reading that morning was lower than usual, and the second was lower still. What changed was not his medication. What changed was the mechanical tension he brought into the measurement, and the alarm signal he had been sending his body. Now we come to breathing trick number 1, the most effective overall for quickly settling the system when the goal is to lower stress pressure, slow the pulse, and create a better internal environment for a more accurate reading. This is the one I most wish seniors knew because it takes the science of slow breathing and makes it practical. It is not flashy, it is not dramatic, but it works with the body instead of against it. And once you feel what happens in your chest, your throat, and your pulse, when you do this right, you will understand why I saved it for last. Breathing trick number 1 is what I call the 6-breath reset. Here's the idea. Most adults, especially when worried, breathe too fast. But when you slow down to about 6 breaths per minute, you give the cardiovascular system a chance to settle into a steadier rhythm. The easiest way to do that is inhale through your nose for 4 counts and exhale through your mouth or through gently pursed lips for 6 counts. That gives you 1 10-second breath. Do 6 of those, and you've completed 1 minute. Stay with that for 2 to 5 minutes, and watch what begins to change. This is how I want you to use it in real life. You walk in from the mailbox and feel rattled. Sit down first. You get an upsetting text from a family member. Sit down first. You take your blood pressure and the number is higher than expected. Do not immediately stab the button again. Sit down first. Then inhale for 4, exhale for 6. Inhale for 4, exhale for 6. If 6 feels too long, make it 5. If you're comfortable and relaxed, make it 7 or 8. The secret is not perfection. The secret is that the exhale stays longer, and the pace stays slow. Now let me explain why this pattern is so potent. As the breathing rate slows, the body stops acting like it needs to run, fight, argue, or brace. The heart often becomes less jumpy. The blood vessels may begin to loosen. The mind stops firing one alarm after another, and that longer exhale appears to take advantage of reflexes that support the body's rest and digest mode. In plain English, you are giving your internal pressure system fewer reasons to stay elevated. You are not forcing the number down. You are removing the stress chemistry that was holding it up, in the first place. That is exactly what happened to Gloria in Columbus, Ohio. Gloria was 69 and had developed a terrible ritual. Anytime she got a high reading, she would check again immediately, then stand up, pace, worry, sit back down, and check again. The entire process became a blood pressure-raising machine. I taught her the 6-breath reset and gave her one rule: no second reading until after 2 full minutes of slow breathing. 2 weeks later, her log looked completely different. The wild spikes were less frequent, the repeat readings were calmer, and for the first time, she felt in control instead of hunted. And here's what I need you to understand before you use any of these tricks. These methods work best when the blood pressure rise is being amplified by stress, rushing, poor breathing mechanics, or the panic of seeing the number itself. They are not permission to ignore the basics. You still need to sit correctly. You still need your arms supported. You still need to rest before measuring. You still need to avoid talking during the reading. These breathing tricks are not separate from good technique. They are part of good technique, because they help create the calm physiology an accurate reading requires. So what is the complete sequence I recommend? First, sit down and do nothing for a moment. Second, if you feel panicked, start with trick number 3, pursed lip breathing, for 5 slow cycles. Third, switch to trick number 2, diaphragmatic breathing, to get the breath lower and softer. Fourth, use trick number 1, the 6-breath reset, for 2 to 5 minutes before you recheck your pressure. That sequence is powerful because it moves from fast rescue to better mechanics to full nervous system regulation. It is simple enough to remember, but strong enough to interrupt the pattern that keeps so many readings falsely high. And I want to address one more mistake, because it quietly ruins all 3 techniques. Do not turn breathing into performance. Don't suck in huge breaths until your chest aches. Don't hold your breath so long that you strain. Don't tense your face, neck, or abdomen trying to do it perfectly. If you finish feeling more effort than ease, you did too much. Gentle is stronger here. Smooth is stronger here. Quiet is stronger here. Seniors often think bigger breaths must work better, but that is not how this works. The body calms when it senses safety. Not when it senses struggle. Let me tell you about Walter in Des Moines, because his story brings the whole lesson together. Walter was 78, stubborn, independent, and absolutely convinced that if a little breathing was good, a lot had to be better. He inhaled like he was filling a tire, held until his face got red, then blasted the air out. He said it made him feel powerful. It also made him dizzy. Once he learned to breathe smaller, slower, and longer on the exhale, everything changed. His neck relaxed, his pulse eased down, and the first thing he said to me was, "Doc, this feels easier than worrying." That word easier matters more than most people know, because at this age, your body does not need more drama. It does not need more fear. It does not need more wrestling with a blood pressure machine like it is an enemy. What it needs is a repeatable way to signal safety. That is what these 3 breathing tricks give you. A way to lower the internal volume. A way to stop feeding the surge. A way to help your body return to the state where better numbers are possible. Not guaranteed every time, but possible far more often than panic will ever allow. So, the next time a reading scares you, remember this. Number 3, pursed lip breathing, when you need fast control. Number 2, belly breathing, when your chest is tight and your shoulders are doing all the work. Number 1, the 6-breath reset, when you want the strongest overall calming effect before a repeat reading. Use them in that order if you need to. Practice them when you're calm, so they're there when you're not. And if this helped you, subscribe, share this with another senior, and keep watching, because the right information at the right moment can change everything. Research basis used for accuracy only, not part of the script. Controlled breathing can influence the nervous system and cardiovascular response, and longer, slower exhalation is commonly described as helping shift the body toward a calmer, rest and digest state. The American Heart Association explains that controlled breathing can stimulate the vagus nerve and support relaxation, while Harvard notes that slow breathing is generally defined as about 6 to 10 breaths per minute and often uses a prolonged exhalation. American Heart Association, Harvard Health. The diaphragmatic breathing steps in the script were based on Cleveland Clinic guidance. 1 hand on the chest, 1 below the rib cage. Breathe in slowly through the nose so the belly rises, then exhale through pursed lips while keeping the upper chest as still as possible. Cleveland Clinic also notes potential benefits, including reduced heart rate, reduced blood pressure, and relaxation. Cleveland Clinic. For longer-term blood pressure support, the evidence is moderate but real. Harvard reports that practicing slow, deep breathing daily may help reduce systolic blood pressure, and a systematic review meta-analysis found average reductions of about 7 mm systolic and 3.4 mm diastolic across breathing exercise studies. Harvard Health PMC Review. The explanation linking slower breathing and exhalation with lower heart rate and improved relaxation is also consistent with medical YouTube content from Jeremy London, MD, and Dr. Pradip Jamnadas, MD, which emphasize the role of exhalation, vagal activity, and guided slow breathing in calming cardiovascular responses. Jeremy London, MD, Dr. Pradip Jamnadas, MD for emergency caution. The American Heart Association advises urgent action when blood pressure is above 180-120 mmHg with warning symptoms such as chest pain, shortness of breath, weakness, numbness, trouble speaking, or vision changes. American Heart Association. If you want, I can also do either of these next.